Welcome to the Children in Scotland podcast. In this episode, Sandra Mitchell and Alison Payne from Resolve Mediation are in conversation with Amy Kilpatrick and Tricia Strickland, Professors of Education at Hood College, Maryland in the United States. They discuss the benefits of building trust-based family professional partnerships for children, young people, families and communities.
Good afternoon. I was really excited to be invited to attend and present at an international special education dispute resolution symposium in Denver, Colorado last October at this time. It was during this symposium I met Professor Amy Kilpatrick, and we connected right away, talked for ages, and realised there were so many opportunities where we wanted to share our experiences, knowledge and practices from our professional and personal backgrounds across Scotland and America's education systems. Following many online conversations with Amy and her colleague, Professor Tricia Strickland, we are delighted today to introduce Amy and Tricia, who are joining Alison and I for this podcast. Amy's an assistant professor of education at Hood College in Frederick, Maryland, and she's the director of the Multidisciplinary Studies in Education programme, and she completed her PhD in special education at the University of Northern Colorado and her master's degree in early childhood special education at the University of Texas. Amy's got over 25 years experience in public education in the classroom, administration and at state level. And Tricia is a professor of education at Hood College also, and she teaches courses in special educational instruction methods and classroom organisation as part of the teacher preparation programme. Tricia has spent 18 years working extensively with children and young people in need of emotional and behavioural support in educational and residential settings. We're also delighted to announce that Amy and Tricia will be travelling to Scotland later this year to be with us in person to present at our Children in Scotland Early Years Conference in Glasgow to continue this exciting relationship between Hood College and Children in Scotland. We have some questions today, and I'm going to hand you over to Alison, my colleague.
Amy and Tricia, you've both shaped your careers around supporting children and young people. Can you share with us why this has been such an important area of focus for you both?
Great, thanks, Alison. It is an important area of focus for both of us. And for my part, I was just one of those kids that always wanted to be a teacher. I knew from the time I was probably in kindergarten that I wanted to be a teacher, but I hadn't really focused in on education for students with disabilities at that, early stage. But in my early secondary school years, I started volunteering with students with disabilities and with migrant children, and continued that volunteer work throughout all of college until I finished my bachelor's degree. And I really think that experience of doing that volunteer work with these different communities of students really had a profound impact on me. My work was not only with students, but with families as well. So that really impacted and kind of has guided my professional trajectory since then. You, Tricia.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us. I'm actually very fascinated by human behavior. I can't always say that I didn't always know I wanted to be a teacher, but what I did know is that I really enjoyed working with kids, and that I understood the impact of our childhood experiences on our adult life and throughout our life. And so I wanted to find a way that I could impact children in a way that was very positive. So I began when I was only 19 working with young people with developmental disabilities in residential facilities. And so I wasn't sure, I didn't really expect to go into teaching at that point. I just knew that I really enjoyed working with kids, and I really enjoyed working with kids with character. Kids that maybe not everyone else appreciated as much as I did, and being able to provide positive experiences in those residential facilities was really important to me, because I saw the impact that it was making.
Thank you both. That's really interesting. Thanks for sharing that. So you're both delivering a workshop for children in Scotland next month at the Early Years Conference in November, and that's called Trust Me, I'm a Professional, Building Trust-Based Family Professional Partnerships. Can you tell us a little bit about this workshop and why you wanted to share learning with the Scottish children's sector?
Yeah, so I'll start there. Family professional partnerships are really central to my body of research and my teaching of pre-service teachers. And part of the reason is that we know that strong family professional partnerships increase student outcomes, both not just academically, but also socially and behaviorally. There's a lot of research to support that. But we also have a smaller body of research that suggests that those good partnerships also impact the quality of life for mothers of students with disabilities, as well as for teachers. So it is a win-win-win situation when we can strengthen those partnerships. And we know that building trust is one of the key factors to developing those relationships and relationships that can survive past conflict, which, it's normal in a partnership, and especially when we're talking about services for students, to have some conflict and some disagreement, which is perfectly normal. And if we have that basis of trust built with the families, then it can help us to move on past the conflict and continue a strong relationship. So that is, in a nutshell, we're going to be talking about some strategies, research-based strategies, and looking at what the current research tells us about how to develop that trust and to restore it when there have been problems or issues.
Yeah, this is such an important topic. And, we talk about it. The research is very clear on, just as Amy shared, about the importance of these strong family professional partnerships. And yet, when we really look at individual situations, it's strained. These relationships are very strained. It's stressful for families as well as for teachers. And so being able to share what we know about the research, but also learn from one another in terms of, how can we continue to do more to improve, to better improve these partnerships. So learning from one another is also going to be really important.
Exactly.
You've touched on it a bit there, Tricia. Can both of you maybe think about what the biggest challenges and opportunities related to developing and nurturing the family professional partnerships?
Yeah, one of the things that immediately comes to mind is cultural differences. So in the United States, even looking at the state of Maryland, where Amy and I live and work, our public schools are minority majority. So most of our students in these school systems are not white. And yet overwhelmingly our teaching force is white. And so I think that there can be some cultural breakdown, there, and not fully understanding. And so that can impact in terms of race or ethnicity. But even looking at it from a diverse socioeconomic status and understanding differences, understanding the circumstances of families who have circumstances that are different than our own families, and making sure that we address any biases that we may have and be willing to open up and listen to families and understand that families are the experts on their child and respect that and value them. And so being able to listen and understand when we're working with families that are different from who we are.
Excellent. Yeah. And I think we also struggle to keep the focus on the common goal, which is to support the child. And people can get kind of dug in their positions and want to win quote unquote. But really, we shouldn't be looking at the relationship from a point of competition where somebody wins and somebody loses, but instead of having that idea of collaboration where both sides are working towards a common goal. And so kind of losing track of that common goal can be part of the breakdown of communication and breakdown of the partnership. And so that is an important part of building those relationships, is teaching everybody, having strategies for how to keep the eye on that common goal, which is, obviously helping the child to be successful, and respecting that different people are going to have different ideas about how to do that. But if part of conflict resolution is realizing that we're all working for the same goal. And so I think that can be part of what damages that partnership sometimes, is losing sight of that.
Great, thanks. Really interesting and insight on the subject. We're really delighted that you're both visiting Scotland next month. I've just wondered if you wanted to tell us what you're really looking forward to and the experience here.
I'm looking forward to making my first trip to Scotland. I have never been there before. And with a name like Kilpatrick, you would think that maybe I had made an adventure into Scotland. My father has, so he's excited for me to go. Tricia's telling me about some going to high tea, I think. And so that's something I'm looking forward to, because I don't know about what that is. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I have been fortunate. I've been to Scotland. It's actually been one of my favorite places I've ever been to. So I'm really looking forward to going to coming back. And so, there's a lot of fun stuff we plan on doing in terms of, a cultural experience. But again, we're really looking forward to meeting our colleagues in Scotland and learning from one another about how we can support our children. And so I think it's going to be a wonderful experience. I have no doubt. And just really looking forward to meeting more people.
Yeah.
Great. Thanks very much. We're all looking forward to meeting you both as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Children in Scotland podcast. To find out more about all of our work and services, including Resolve Mediation and our Learning and Events programme, head to our website at childreninscotland.org.uk.